Okay, so hopefully you watched my last video where I showed you how to EQ a sound effect here and also adjust the gain on that clip. The last thing I want to show you how to do is how to add some effects. Now, I'm sure that initially you're going to be interested in putting sound effects right on a very short edited clip. I'm going to show you why that might not be the best idea. So first things first, if I go in, see if I can get it to do this on reverb, right? If I go in and just add some really big reverb onto this, like this church one. Now, let's go even bigger. Let's do something huge. Just want some extremely reverberating thing. Gymnasium 2 maybe? Now the thing about this is I've got some kind of cheat space at the end. What happens if I delete this? Actually, I think what you're going to see is more to my point, which is if the sound effect, I'll fade it, right? I'll be a good boy. The reverb's gonna want to continue on longer than the clip. And it'll make this kind of clipping sound that we're probably not gonna wanna use. Sometimes it's good to demonstrate why you don't want to do something. Yeah, so here at the end there, how it sort of cuts off the echo, we don't want to do that even though the sound effect's over. So what I recommend is, especially if you're using, a lot of sophisticated effects and you don't want to cut them off, go in and give yourself a new multi-track session. I'm going to just call this one Reverb. Why not? And I'm going to make sure that I put that folder inside my digital design sound effects folder that I've already made, because we want to make sure we always stay organized. Don't just put those folders anywhere. And I believe this is the unedited zipper. So the nice thing about putting these in a track, I can adjust these fades however long I want. The other thing that's nice about editing in a multi-track versus the editor, I can adjust these fades forever. It's not permanent. And right, you have a history just like you do in Photoshop or something. I can hit Command Z and go back up my list of things I've done. But I'll get those to be about where I want. And then see what happens when I add this reverb effect. If I add this huge, full reverb, yeah. It's saying I don't have enough computer to do this, but I assure you I do. So notice that now that I've applied this reverb, it's actually Martian echo. Let's go cuckoo. It's actually worse. I don't like that one. I hate it, in fact. Let's go back to the gym. Notice that my effects get added on as a rack. And basically what that's saying is that it's running everything on this track, whether I put a first clip or everything on this that I put on this track will get reverb. So if I notice that it keeps reverberating, and just to be more extreme with this, let's trim this thing up so that it kind of ends before it should. Oh, I got my loop-de-loop playing only this part, so I'll turn that off. Notice how the echo goes longer than this clip. That's because we've got this as a track level effect. It also means that if I drag in my other sound effect, it will get that same reverb, and I can come over here and turn it off and I get the original tone. So that's sort of the benefit of doing your effects mixing in a multi-track session. just like when we exported clips out before, right? If I want these things to be separate clips, I can just go to File, Export Selected Clips, and I can select more than one clip and go to do the same thing if I want them to be in the same file. Or I can go to multi-track mixdown of the entire session. That'll like treat this whole thing sort of like a multi-track video file and compress everything down into one audio file for you. So that's just a little bit more advanced techniques here in Adobe Audition.